we are going to be paying for a long time with the results of this so-called Arab Spring. I think it was a terrible mistake. So,
do you think pushing Mubarak, in hindsight, is going to turn out to have been a mistake?
I think that the way that we went about the Arab Spring and the fact that a lot of this was done with the unilateral actions of a president, particularly the Libya situation, without coming to the Congress, on the grounds of what they call humanitarian intervention, which is impossible to define, did send a lot of chaos through the region. And it's going to take us a while to recover from that.
Joe Concha in for Steve Malzberg, the Steve Malzberg Show on this Thursday afternoon. Well, with the midterm elections coming up, change is in the air. And plus, it was like 45 degrees outside in my house last night in Jersey, so that change is coming as well, which I'm not happy about. But anyway, elections usually mean in with the new and out with the old, but the Tea Party cannot even wait for the midterms. Some members are revving up their efforts to try and oust Speaker John Boehner. Meanwhile, predictions are being made left and right about who or who may not be running in the 2016 election. Some are more plausible than others, but one possible candidate could be former Virginia Senator Jim Webb, who you just saw. So here to talk about all of that and more is the political reporter for the Daily Caller, not the Caller, but the Caller, Alex Pappas. Alex, how are you?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Sure, sure. Always good to have an Alabama Crimson Tide, Roll Tide in the house. Hey, let's talk about Jim Webb first. For starters, he's got to color the hair a little bit better. I mean, that's like Willy Wonka-esque, that whole red thing. 101 for president, you got to look the part. But look, you did a piece on his possible run for president, and the title was "The Case for Jim Webb to Run for President. He's Redneck Regal." Tell me a little bit more about why you think Jim Webb could even possibly challenge the juggernaut that is Hillary Clinton.
Well, it's fun. You know, liberals are always talking about who could be the progressive, maybe more populist alternative to Hillary Clinton, and they say Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren has said she's not interested, she's not running. I mean, I really don't think she's going to run, especially if Hillary does. But, you know, Jim Webb is the sort of guy who he's Southern, as you saw in the preview here. He's anti-war, so he could hit Hillary on that. He's got the populist thing going for him. And so my story was talking to the guy who got Jim Webb elected to the U.S. Senate there in the first place. His name's Mudcat Saunders. He's this legendary Southern Democratic operative who specializes in getting the Bubba vote. And so my story was talking to Mudcat about, what's the path for Jim Webb? And it's what I just said. It's running as the populist. Hillary Clinton says we were dead broke, when we came out of the White House. And this is a more normal guy, Jim Webb. He's a Democrat. He only served one term in the Senate, but he, was a Reagan official as Secretary of Navy. And on Second Amendment issues, he's, maybe a little more conservative, maybe able to pull, the more working class people on his side.
I love that name, by the way, Mudcat Saunders. I mean, that's almost as good as Ha Ha Clinton Dix, which is a football jokes, but it is. That's the type of name that you would expect of somebody who's behind a political campaign or just behind the scenes as far as politics below the Mason-Dixon's concerned. I would just wonder if I'm a Jim Webb or I'm an Elizabeth Warren or I'm a Joe Biden, and I look at the polls, and CNN did one in Iowa, for instance, where Hillary Clinton actually lost to Barack Obama in 2008. Here are the numbers. Hillary Clinton, 53%. Ooh, okay, so who's at 47? Not quite. Joe Biden's at 15. Elizabeth Warren's at 7. Bernie Sanders, who I'd love to meet the people that are in this 5%, would vote for him. That's a 38-point spread between Hillary and Biden. So if you're Jim Webb, I get the anti-war part, even though I think Americans are mostly behind these airstrikes and ISIS, maybe not Democrats so much, which is the only important thing in a primary. But why even bother with the time and effort where it just seems like she is absolutely unbeatable?
Right, and clearly, I mean, that would be no easy effort. And that's clearly why we also see the skeptics that are saying, hey, the only reason Jim Webb is saying that he's thinking about running for president, which is what he said this week, is because he's trying to sell a book. The same as other Democratic politicians that say they're interested. I mean, why not run and get your name out there? Maybe somebody like Martin O'Malley, the governor of Maryland, who says, Hillary's probably going to win this thing, but why not go out there, kind of, increase my profile? And that's, other reasons you may think that Jim Webb maybe isn't that serious about it is, you pointed out his appearance with his hair. He's not the most charismatic guy in the world. In fact, he was only in the Senate for one term. Didn't really like politics. that much. But, just going back, Hillary will be vulnerable, especially I think probably on populist issues, looking at the working class. What are things that people that, aren't tied to Wall Street, what do they care about? And there's definitely room for somebody in the field to do that. Bernie Sanders, the socialist, says he may run. And then maybe you'll have somebody more like Jim Webb, maybe, more of a working class sort of guy run as well. But I do think there would be concern in that case, especially from Republicans, that that's only going to make Hillary look, moderate in comparison to these other guys. But so, at the end of the day, I don't think it's bad to be going out there if you're a Democrat and you want to raise your profile. Why not run against Hillary? It probably wouldn't do anything but good for you.
Certainly, and as a media guy first, I can tell you that the media would certainly love to have some sort of challenge to Hillary Clinton in some way, just to fill all the hours on cable news. If a run could be made, we saw that happen when Hillary was supposedly inevitable in 2007. Barack Obama comes about, and before you know it, he's the nominee instead of Hillary. So let's shift gears here for a moment. I want to talk about the latest efforts by GOP Tea Party members to try to oust Speaker Boehner. The midterms should be a foregone conclusion as far as the Senate is concerned with Republicans. They'll obviously hold on to the House, but still there seems to be some unrest within the party, as there always is, from the right of Boehner. They want to get rid of him. We only have about 45 seconds. Tell us if you think this is actually a real threat to the Speaker, or is this just more talk from the Tea Party?
It's a real threat, but it's not going to be easy. The same guys that tried to do it last time, they were unsuccessful in doing it, are working a little bit earlier this time. That was their problem last time. They waited too late to try to consolidate. End of the day, though, it's hard to take out somebody in leadership. There are a lot of repercussions. They can take committee assignments, office space. So if these guys want to take out Boehner, it's not going to be easy.
Let me put you on the spot. This is a one-name answer. If Boehner were to be ousted, then who replaces him?
Maybe Jeb Hensarling, maybe Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan says he doesn't want it, though.
I wouldn't think he would. Hey, Alex, we appreciate you having us. Enjoy Redskins-Giants down in the nation's capital tonight. Giants win that game by a field goal, but it's two bad teams, so what do we really care anyway? Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks.
Hey, we'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show after the break. We have a great show lined up for you. Not that it hasn't been great already, but even gets better. Stick around. Joe Concha filling in for Mr. Malzberg.